As I have already told you, this poem is about the death of a loved one. How does the poet feel when he thinks about her death? How does he imagine her to be after death? So, in the poem, the poet's beloved has died and he is now left alone without her. So, what are the thoughts of the poet when he thinks about her death? And how does he react after she's not here anymore? Imagine how he imagines her to be after life, and this is what we are going to discuss in this poem. A slumber did my spirit seal. So, before reading the poem, let's have an introduction. This is one of the Lucy poems. Okay, so Lucy might be the name of his beloved, written by William Wordsworth. He has written set of poems for his beloved Lucy, and those are called Lucy poems. These poems have been dedicated to his beloved. Beloved, if a girl loves someone, she is called beloved, and the guy is called the lover. The poet refers to death, which is a permanent sleep. Okay, here death is uh, referred as a sleep, as a permanent sleep. The poet did not realize when his beloved Lucy slept forever. Okay, he doesn't realizes that when Lucy slept forever, that is, she died. She had taken her life for granted and realized this hard truth of life after her death. Both poet and his beloved were thinking of life. They were taking it for granted, and then when death took her apart, then only it was realized that what it mattered. So here the poem is. Let's together read it. Okay, we will divide the poem in two parts. Okay, so this poem is about the death of a loved one, as we already know. So let's see. A slumber did my spirit seal. I had no human fears. She seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly years. No motion she has now, no force. She neither hears nor sees, rolled round in earth's diurnal course, with rocks and stones and trees. You can see the poem is divided. I have divided it in two stanzas, but although it was not written as stanza wise, but we can divide it because it is not a free verse. A free verse is where there is no rhyme scheme. Okay, verse don't rhyme, they are just written as it is. But here you can see that first two lines and the third and fourth line, they are rhyming. The first line is rhyming with the third line. The first line's last word is seal, and the third line's last word is feel, so they both are rhyming. The second line's last word is fears, and the fourth line's last word is ears. So this can be taken as one stanza. The other one, see, no motion has she now, no force. Okay, rolled round in earth's diurnal course. Again, the first line of this stanza and the third line. Then she neither hears nor sees. So sees, it is ending with sees, and the fourth line it is ending with trees. So here also the rhyming scheme is same. A B A B and then A B A B. Okay, this is the rhyming scheme of your poem, and we can divide it easily in two stanzas. Now we are going to read the poem, and I am going to explain you the poem stanza wise. Of course, this poem is written by William Wordsworth. Okay. A slumber did my spirit seal. I had no human fears. She seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly years. Slumber, first of all, slumber means sleep. Okay. These words that are there in the video, you have to note them down in your notebooks. Word meanings you have to do. A slumber did my spirit seal. I had no human fears. So the poet is saying that a sleep took my spirit away. Okay, my spirit, my soul was seized by a slumber, by a sleep. I was in deep sleep, and I had no human fears. When we sleep very silently, very calmly, very patiently, very peacefully, then we have no fears. We don't know what is happening around us, so we are relaxed, we are calm. So the poet was in the same state. He's saying that a slumber did my spirit seal. Then he says, she seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly years. Here, earthly years shows that although she is getting older, okay, with the as the time is passing, she is getting aged, but it is not reflected in her body. She is still she still looks so young. So it could not be a reality that she can get old. Okay, so let's see the explanation. The poet's soul had drifted into deep sleep, had it not have any realization of the truth. So the poet's soul had drifted into a deep sleep. He was slept, and he did not have any realization of the truth that his beloved has passed away. This was the truth. He had taken life for granted and had never thought that one day death would take Lucy away. He was here, the second line, see, I had no human fears. When we sleep, see the poets, what they do when they are writing a poem, one single line has many meanings. I had no human fears. When we sleep, we don't have any fear. We sleep very calmly. We sleep with a lot of peace. And here the poet used this emotion for himself in other way also. How? That when he was sleeping, he did not had that fear. He did not know that his beloved has passed away. So the fear he was not aware of. And that slumber, his sleep, he's cursing himself that I was in such deep sleep that I could not realize that what has happened around me. The biggest fear of my life has come into reality. Okay, although he didn't fear it, he was taking life as granted, but it is the biggest fear, death. What can be more bad than a death? That too of your loved one. Okay, so here the poet says this thing. He had taken life for granted and had never thought that one day death would take Lucy away from him. When she was taken away, he could not bear the loss. When she died, he could not come into the could not digest it that he has to live alone now. He has to live away from Lucy now. Okay, so this was the first stanza, how the poet beautifully explained that he was sleeping very calmly and he was not knowing the reality. He had no realization that what has happened around him, that one day the thing has happened, Lucy is gone, death has uh, taken the better of his beloved. Okay, so this has happened, and the poet is broke. Now, the second stanza. No motion has she now, no force. She neither hears nor sees. Rolled round in earth's diurnal course with rocks and stones and trees. Okay, so no motion. Now, poet, earlier he was saying that what happened when um, he was sleeping, and now he's telling us that when now he's awoke, he is realizing that what has happened, and afterwards, after the death, now how the things are. So he's saying that no motion has she now, no force. Okay, she is having no she her body is motionless and no force is there in her body. She neither hears or sees. She is just a body now. She's lying there unconscious, rolled round in earth's diurnal course. Okay, now Earth's diurnal course, what is the day and night? Okay, the daily routine of Earth. Earth revolves around the sun. Okay, the daily course of Earth, that is there with rocks and stones and trees. Now she will be mixed up with rocks and stones and trees, as we know that when someone dies in Christians or in Muslims, they are buried. So, and in Hindus also, we do the cremation of Hindus, we burn them. So afterwards, what is believed that uh, our souls get mixed up with Earth's elements. Okay, like we got we get mixed up uh, with all the elements of nature, uh, be it water, fire, whatever it is. So our body get mixed up with that. So he's saying that she is motionless and she neither hears nor sees. She will move around in Earth's diurnal course and with rocks and stones and trees. So this is what it is. Earth's diurnal course, it's daily rotation. Okay, because of which the poet is saying this. The poet accepts the truth that Lucy is no. Now he has to accept the reality, what has happened with him. Earlier he was in a mode of denial that no, death is not there. My Lucy is so ageless. Okay, uh, she age can't affect my Lucy, and she will remain young. She will not die. She will not have any effect to her health. But the poet accepts that now she is no more. She's motionless, she's lifeless, and she cannot hear or see. Okay, so the poet has to accept the reality, and he has accepted the reality that now nothing can be done. The one who he loved so much is gone. She has been buried in the earth. She will assimilate into the earth, and it's rotating along with the earth. So he is thinking that we have buried her, and she will assimilate to all the elements of nature of earth, and she will rotate along with earth. One day she will become one with the rocks, stones, and trees that are a part of the nature. So all the elements of nature, she will be like them only. Okay, so he's saying that okay, my Lucy's has gone, and I've realized that this is the truth of life. Death is the truth of life. Often we ask ourselves that what is the ultimate truth? Someone says that death is the ultimate truth, ultimate reality, the final destination. Okay, the only truth, that is death, because we are just living and one day it will happen to us. But I tend to differ from them. I feel that death is not the reality, but life is. Okay, life is the ultimate truth. What is happening with us is the ultimate truth. Why? It has a scientific logic, because we have not seen that what happens after death. We are not aware that what one goes through after death, after life. What is there? We are not aware. We are not sure. Yes, in mythology, yes, in our holy texts, many things are written, but if we go around practically, what we see that life is what we observe, what life is what happens to us. So life is the ultimate truth, life is the ultimate reality, life is the ultimate power. Okay, so this is what I feel, and the poet is sensing right now that yes, death is the ultimate truth. Now quickly let's see how you will frame the summary. You have to frame a bigger one than this. The poet admits that he was in a sort of a deep sleep because he did not fear the harsh reality of life. The poet uh, have the poet, without any now ifs and buts, agrees that yes, death is the reality of life, and he was in a sort of deep sleep. He was in a slumber. He had taken life for granted and had never thought that one day death could separate him from his beloved Lucy. So he was taking life for granted, and he was never in the thought that one day death will make him apart from his beloved Lucy. It will separate him from his beloved Lucy. For him, she was like an immortal goddess. Earlier, whenever he used to look at her, he used to think that she is the ultimate immortal goddess. Okay, one who cannot die, immortals. Okay, she was thinking that she's a goddess. She was like a goddess to him who cannot die, who was unaffected by age and mortality, age and death. It was not her cup of tea. She will survive for the ages to come, and she will happily live with a poet. So this was the thoughts of poet, that how how can she die? She is so young, she is so beautiful, she has no effects of death over her. Okay, as she is dead, she lies motionless. Now afterwards, when death has taken the better of her, she is lying there motionless. She is dead, she cannot hear or see. She has been buried in earth and will assimilate with earth's elements, and she will move around earth. She will rotate with earth, and one day she will get, because the process is not that fast, so he's thinking that she will get assimilated with the trees, rocks, and stones that are part of earth. So this is what the poet explains to us, that one day this will happen, and this will be the sad reality for all of us. But it has happened with poet right now. He's in a mode of grief. He's full of grief. He's full of tears. He's shocked. He's coming to the reality, and this is what is happening with the poet. And he has accepted the truth that death is the ultimate truth. Now let us see some literary devices. I hope that the poem you have understood it. It is about the one of the saddest part of our lives, that is death. Literary devices. The rhyme scheme of the poem is A B A B C D C D. Okay, because the poem is not written stanza wise, the poet has uh, not made any segregation between the stanzas. So we cannot take the rhyming scheme as only AB because 8 lines are there. So two different stanzas. We have divided it. Okay, so the rhyme scheme will be AB and CD. Then alliteration is also a very beautiful device in the poem. The repetition of a consonant sound at the start of two or more consecutive words is called alliteration. Okay, the repetition of a consonant sound at the start of two or more consecutive words. The instances of alliteration are as follow: spirit and sealed, rolled and round. Okay, so both the words are starting with a consonant sound. Okay, spirit and sealed, rolled and round. So this is what alliteration is, and it is used in the poem in this manner. Then one more device is enjambment. When a sentence continues into two or more lines ending without any punctuation marks. Okay, when a sentence continues into two or more lines uh, without any punctuation marks is called enjambment. In the poem, it was happening. How? See, the instances of enjambment are as follows: she seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly years. Okay, so she seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly years. Here, no punctuation mark is used. Rolled round in earth's diurnal course with rocks and stones and trees. Okay, after course, nothing is put there. So this is what enjambment is, and this is used by the poet in the poem. So here the poem concludes. I have explained you the summary also a little bit. I've told you you can make a very good summary. You will make one big summary for you. This is how we have completed the 10th poem, and now only one chapter, If I Were You, is remaining. And I think this was the last poem. I'm not sure. I've not gone through the contents again. And I feel that yes, there are no more poems in your book. The 10 stories, the 11th one, If I Were You, it is a very interesting, a very suspense based story. if I were you, अगर मैं तुम होता तो क्या करता. Okay, so this is a very interesting story. We are going to read it in the next video, in the next lecture, and till that time you have to complete the poem, the work of poem. You have to write the summary, you have to write the question answers that I am going to provide you, and you're going to do the word meanings also. So here our course concludes, and the course of the poem part concludes, and I, I wish that you have understood the poem, you have understood the summary, and you will do the work as I've explained you in your fair notebooks. And soon we are going to end our uh, syllabus, and we are going to focus on the revision now. I'm going to take your test also. Your test will be taken soon after the, the course gets over. Revision videos will be sent, and after that the test will also take place. So I am Aman from Ardent Progressive School. You were watching video classes. Thank you so much for watching the lecture.